Hey guys, this is Nathan, and welcome back to Sky Factory 2.5. So I hope your day is going good. Mine is going great. Been looking into more of what we need to do to continue on with Botania, and I think the next thing that we want to make is the Horn of the Wild. So the Horn of the Wild, if I can find it here again, right here, takes a little bit of living wood and a pasture seed. Now the pasture seed takes some grass in the mana pool. Just takes a little bit of mana, no big deal. Now I went ahead and made up some of the wooden shears that I showed in the last episode and grabbed a little bit of grass. I love those wooden shears. I wish I would have known about them sooner, because that makes life so easy. Yeah, all that we have to do, I've been feeding these endo flames charcoal from time to time. And I've got a little bit of mana built up here, and actually if we look here, yeah, we're almost a quarter of a mana pool already. But so we're going to make one of these pasture seeds, and then we just need to grab a little bit of living wood. So we got that back here, so we need, I think it was 5 of them, and then we need a crafting table, which I don't have one over here. So let's go ahead and grab a crafting table, and if I remember correctly, it was like this. Yep. So, Horn of the Wild. So now what this is going to do for us is it's going to greatly speed up our ability to break the Botania flowers. So if we come over here and grab a bit of our floral fertilizer and just start spamming this on the ground, we get flowers all over the place. So that is really nice to be able to have all these flowers, but it takes forever to break them. So now the Horn of the Wild, in concert with our Ring of Magnetization, will allow us to, if we right click on the Horn of the Wild, it will break the flowers, and then the Ring of Magnetization sucks them all in. And you'll also notice we are breaking our saplings over here from our tree farm, but it does not break our generating flora. So that's pretty nice. Now there are ways to automate this. I believe, at least in the past, the autonomous activator was able to use the Horn of the Wild. So that would be something that we could look into. I know I said I didn't want to really get into the tech stuff, but I don't think Botania has anything that we can use to automate the Horn of the Wild otherwise. But yeah, I've just been pretty much gathering a lot of the living rock, and yeah, a lot of it is an understatement. We almost have a full barrel. So yeah, just been continuing on breaking the stuff over and over. I get a stack and a half every time here, and once again, lighting glitches. I hate these lighting glitches. But no, we're still breaking that stuff. So we may need to look at getting away from our tree farm, and actually my plan for today was to build an island for Botania. So I want to build it out in this direction. I want to have it slightly above the level of this island. And I gotta do a little bit of thinking about how big we want this island to be, because I want to be able to get everything from Botania into it. And that's going to be a little difficult. We have to make sure we have room for our pure daisies. We need room for our mana generation area. Petal Apothecary, there's the, I think, a runic altar, or am I thinking of Thaumcraft? I don't know. There's some type of an altar or something right here. Yes, the runic altar, so we need room for that. We also need room for the terrestrial agglomeration plate. This thing is how we're going to be able to make our Terra Steel. So there's a lot of stuff that we need room for, and I don't want it to be just absolutely cramped right on top of each other. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of thinking about how big I want that island to be. Also, I want to have kind of like a rope bridge between the two islands. And since the island height is going to be different, that's going to be an interesting one to try to figure out. So I think what I'm going to do, I am going to do a little bit of figuring on what I want to do with all of those various things. Now I intend to build that island in a time lapse, so I'm going to get all that figured out, And let's roll the time lapse. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. So we now have a second island that is going to be for Botania. Now I'm not sure that it's quite going to be big enough, but we'll just see. I know that our generating flora is probably going to take a pretty good amount of space, but we may build something there to contain the generating flora. I don't know. We'll just have to see. So now all of this stuff needs to be moved up there. And as you could see in the time-lapse, I did make this kind of a terraformed island. I wanted to make it look nice before I started building anything. That way I can kind of try to keep some of the natural beauty here and work around some of this stuff, you know, like having this little stream here. I really liked that idea, you know, having the water cascading off of the edge of the island. You know, just in general, those are some things that I wanted to do. I still want to do some things like that on our main island. I just have not figured out for sure how I want to go about doing it yet. But one thing here, I have these spruce wood fences. Now these are from Extra Utilities, but they do use micro blocks to be built. And we are going to be making a lot more of these. They require 3 of the pillars and 4 posts for 2 of them, I believe. So you have to use a saw, cut up the pieces. I think I may have some pieces. No, I don't. But yeah, that's how you make those fences. And we're going to ring the entire island with those fences. Now, before we get going into Botania some more, I want to address a comment that was left for me. And that is, while I was searching for the Pam's Harvest Craft saplings, I wasn't doing it right. Now, the way that I was trying to get them was how you got the saplings in Crash Landing. The way that we get the saplings here is by sieving podzol. So I made up a stack of podzol. I have been getting it from the sludge boiler, but we also have a huge amount of the spruce leaves. And if you take 8 spruce leaves and a piece of dirt, you make a piece of podzol. So we're going to sieve this here and see what we get. We should get some saplings right away, and there we go. There's the first one already. So we have olives and bananas, so yeah, we can sieve this whole stack. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now. It looks like we got pomegranates and dragon fruit. We're going to go ahead and plant these right away. And where do we want to plant them? I suppose over here. This should work. So these trees do take a fair amount of space. That scared me. But we're going to plant these, let them grow. You know, let them do their thing. I'm not going to mess with them right now. So I'm just going to drop this podzol here. So we do need to move all of our Botania stuff up onto the island. What I want to get going on next is replacing all of these endoflames with the Gormalis, or Gormarialis. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But in order to make this, we are going to have to make some runes, and these require the runic altar, which is something we have not made yet. And in order to save our mana, we are going to want to make a mana tablet. So the mana tablet, if I can locate it here, there's so much stuff in Botania, there it is. So the mana tablet is either a mana pearl or a mana diamond surrounded by living rock. Now this is kind of like a battery for mana, I guess you could say. I'm not sure. Yeah, we've got some ender pearls, so we'll go ahead and make a couple of mana pearls here, and then we'll grab a little bit of living rock. Whoops, hit the wrong button. Okay, there we go. There's those. Grab 1 stack is sufficient. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and make up a little bit of these mana tablets here. I don't think we needed 2 of them, but just the same, it doesn't hurt. So now if we take our Wand of the Forest and click on the mana pool, we can see that it is accepting mana from items based on the icons right underneath the indicator. So if we shift right click on this, now it is imparting mana to items. And if we toss one of our mana tablets on here, you can see the mana starts being sucked into the tablet. So we can empty out our mana pool, and now you can see we have around about a third of a mana tablet of mana. So now we can safely move all of this stuff, and we don't have to worry about wasting our mana. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move all of this stuff up onto the Botania island, and get a little bit of stuff set up. We're going to make our runic altar, and I will be back in a little bit. So I just about have everything set up here to make all of these runes. Now we needed to get a few items in order to be able to do this, so there's a few things have changed here. First off, I spread the mycelium here a little bit so that we could start growing giant mushrooms. And these are really easy to do if you plant a regular brown or red mushroom on mycelium. Hit it with bone meal, you'll get one of these giant ones. I got a huge amount of the regular mushrooms. As you can see, I've got 3+ stacks of the brown mushrooms and about a stack and a half of the red ones. So we got plenty of those mushrooms. I've got a bunch of them up there ready to go. Now for one of the runes we also needed some melons. So we've gotten melon seeds in the past. I went ahead and planted one of those, and I've just kind of been grabbing these melons whenever we have a few extra of those as well. And yeah, we needed one there, I think. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of extra melons. We also needed some netherwort. So we had 4 pieces of netherwort that had come from loot bags, so I went ahead and grabbed some of our soul sand that has come from the sludge boiler and planted out a small garden, used the water can on it. I've gotten quite a bit of the netherwort, and I don't have to worry about running out anymore. Now we also needed some nether bricks, which I had a few of, but we needed some netherrack, so I went ahead and removed the water in our obsidian generator, which has made 3.5 stacks of obsidian already. And then if you just click redstone onto a barrel of lava, it will give you netherrack. So we are starting to build up lava here now, which is fine. We'll go ahead and let that run so that we can get some netherrack later on. And also, I think if we click glowstone on that, it gives us endstone. So I don't know, we'll just have to see about that. So there's a few things that I had to make up. And yeah, we've got most of the stuff set up here ready to go. I just don't have the second tier runes ready to go. So here in the bottom one we have set up for 9 runes of spring, or runes of water. So they take fishing rod, sugarcane, bone meal, and then mana steel and mana powder. And all of these take a mana steel and a mana powder. So then we have fire, which requires netherwort, gunpowder, and nether bricks. This is a rune of earth, which requires mushroom, coal blocks, and stone. And then air requires string, feather, and carpet. So we have a couple others here. So we have the rune of spring, which is going to take a piece of wheat and 3 saplings, as well as some of our first tier, the rune of water and the rune of fire. So next up we have the rune of summer, which takes a melon, a slime ball, and 2 pieces of sand. So we've got that here. Then we have the rune of autumn, which requires a spider eye and 3 leaves. So we've got that. And then the rune of winter, which requires a cake, wool, and snow. And this cake has come from loot bags. And I think I showed how to make the snow with the pure daisies before. And finally, we need a few pieces of mana steel, because then we also have the rune of mana, which I guess actually takes 5 pieces of mana steel and a mana pearl. So, yeah, we're going to be making up a bunch of this. Now, I don't know which ones are most important, but right now we're going to make one of each of these. And then we also need, I believe, some living rock. So we need to, I guess I don't have it set up yet. First off, we need to make our runic altar. So this is just a mana pearl with some living rock, nothing major. We will also need a mana spreader in order to be able to send our mana from the mana pool into the runic altar. So we're going to go ahead and set up our mana spreader right here next to the mana pool. And we're going to set up the runic altar right here. And we'll bind this mana spreader to the runic altar. So now we need to put on our items. We needed the fishing rod, the sugar cane, and I'm just right-clicking these on here. That's how you put them on. So then the bone meal, mana powder, and mana steel. And you can see it likes that recipe. It is now filling with mana. We have a progress bar on the icon for the rune. Once that fills up, then we take a piece of living rock and click that onto the mana or the runic altar. And then we can just right click on this with our wand of the forest and it will give us 2 of the runes. Now I'm not really going to bore you guys with all of this, but so we do this and then we get our runes. So I don't know for sure how long our mana is going to hold out. I will continue to feed our endoflames charcoal and make up a whole bunch of these runes. And yeah, I will be back in a little bit and we'll take a look at what we can do with these then. So guys, I've been doing a little bit more upgrading here to the mana production and stuff. For 8 of the endoflames, we need at least 3 mana spreaders to pull that much mana away. So I've got 3 on 2 of them, 2 on 1. But we are actually producing mana faster than we are using it. We have over a quarter of a mana pool, about a third right now. And I also added a second mana spreader here by the mana pool to make our runic altar go faster. We could add more of those as well. But so one thing that I am really liking here, this is the last of the tier 1 runes to make. But once we put the living rock on and turn this into a rune, all that we have to do is right click with an empty hand as long as we have the recipe in our inventory, and it will add it to the runic altar. And you can see the status bar here goes up extremely fast. So we are able to make our runes quite rapidly. Now I still want to make the other runes here, but so we have all 18 of each of the tier 1 runes, and so we are going to make the rune of mana here. So this one just takes our 5 mana steel and 1 mana pearl, and now for these we need to figure out where these go. So a rune of spring requires water and fire, so we need fire and water for this one. The rune of summer requires earth and air. Okay. Whoops. Autumn requires fire and air. And then winter is water and earth. Okay. So that's what we need for each of these. We'll go ahead and add that to our inventory one at a time. So this one here should be ready to go. We'll add our living rock and go ahead and click on that. So, excuse me. So now we add, whoops, nope. I think we can just break the runic altar and we get those back. Yeah, okay. So we'll place the runic altar back down here. Those should still be linked to it. Yeah, it says runic altar. So now we want our wheat, 3 saplings, fire, and water. So that's going to make our rune of spring. We'll go ahead and set our rune of mana in here and grab the ingredients for the rune of summer. And so I'm going to make up these other runes here, and then we can start looking at making those Gormarillus flowers so that we can use our Pam's Harvest Craft stuff to make mana. So I'm going to get this all done and I will be back in a little bit. So I have everything here now to make the Garmarlis. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. So to make this, we need the Rune of Fire, the Rune of Summer, 2 yellow mystical petals, 2 light gray, 1 red, and we need those in the Petal Apothecary. So, of course, once again, we queue these into the Petal Apothecary, and I have a feeling we will not be getting our runes back on this. Next, we add a seed, and we get the flower, and no, we did not get our runes back. Kind of figured that was going to happen, but what I want to do now, I am kind of curious as to which mana spreader that linked to. It looks like the bottom one. I don't think we want it linked to that one. I think we want it linked to this one. So what I'm going to do is I am going to throw this thing a bacon mushroom burger. And boy, it ate it pretty quickly. I see no mana being produced here. Okay, there it's going. Oh, yeah, that's right. It does say that it has a digestion time. So I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we can throw multiples to it, if it will eat them all at once. Let's check the Lexica Botania and see what it says, because I'm sure that it said something about that. So we need generating flora, and we are going to be looking for... where is it? There it is. So, it's a hungry flower. Eat up any food in a small area around it and turn it into mana. There's a catch, though. It can only digest a single food at any given time. The mana is created when it's done. Any other food it finds, it'll also devour, but not create any mana from it. Okay, so we want to make sure that we only give it one piece at a time and wait until it's ready to make some mana again. And this thing has a much larger internal buffer than the Endoflames. So if we throw another one to it, you can see it eats it immediately. And once it digests it, it should produce a fair amount of mana. Yeah, it almost completely fills its internal buffer off of that bacon mushroom burger. So that's going to be something that I'm going to have to try to figure out how long we can go between feedings on these guys. Now, of course, I am going to have to make a lot more of those runes of summer. And that's a bit of a problem because I only had the one slime ball. So I am going to have to figure out some way to get slime. I'm sure that I could just drop myself down and build a flat platform down below, at least at Y40 or lower, and we would probably get a huge amount of spawns. But yeah, I don't know for sure what we want to do with that. I think we're getting plenty of mana produced now. We're pushing close to half a pool already, and I don't have anything else to feed the Endoflames. But so this guy is going to really produce a lot. I'm probably going to make a few more of those just to make sure that we can produce a huge amount of mana. And yeah, I don't know. We probably will pull up the Endoflames. But I do think we are getting pretty close to the end of the episode. So I am going to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!